I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you guys a really awesome productivity system that I just recently learned, and I couldn't keep it to myself. So, my rich gals in my school community, this is for you. If you're watching it live, thanks for being here. And if you're watching it on replay, awesome. Take the time before you get started, pause, and go grab a piece of paper, pencil or a pen, whatever you want to take notes on. And if you have a daily planner, grab that too. So, just a little disclaimer before we get started. Again, I learned this system from the amazing Karla Murphy in her program in Founders Forge. So, she has her own website, FoundersForge.pro. If you want to reach out and learn and work from her, feel free. So the first step is to beware of the perfectionism trap. So I think a lot of us start to plan our days thinking that the day is going to be perfect, right? So look at this beautiful sandcastle. You spent so much time working on it. That's a representation of our perfect day. We think everything is going to go as we want it to go, and we think our week is going to go as planned. So we spend so much time making it perfect, but the next thing that you know, you get a call from school, one of your kids is sick, you have a project due at work that has suddenly been thrown in your lap because somebody else is out. Something is going to happen. It happens every single day because that's life. So we don't want to build our days and our schedules and our plans around perfection. What we want to do is plan for the worst. So instead of just creating the beautiful sandcastle, we want to create the moat. So the moat is what protects your day and protects your week from all the things that could potentially happen to it. All the, flat tires that could ruin your day, all the last minute things that pop up that we weren't expecting. So what we should do is plan for that. We should plan for the fact that our day is not going to go as we expected. And that's what we're going to learn today. So the first thing that we have to do for this system is capture everything that's inside of our brains. So if you're like me, you might have a notepad, you might have a physical notepad, you might have the notepad on your phone, you might have an app, you might have a list on the refrigerator, you could have something at work, you could have something at home, you could have a planner, a journal, and then all of your thoughts are just spread everywhere. You don't really have them in one place. So that's why it's so hard to keep track of all the things that you have to do and why it's so stressful because it could be anywhere. And then you have a fleeting thought of, oh, I need to do this. And then before you know it, it's gone. So the first step is to capture everything that's inside of our head into a single inbox. So some people may prefer pencil and paper, but we all live with our phones in our hands. So it's best to do something digital. The app that I'm personally using is called Todoist. It's free. You can set it up with reminders and it'll send you emails. There's all kinds of things that'll ping you for the things that you have to get done. You can easily reschedule items, but you can pick any app you like. The whole point is to take everything that's jumbling around in your brain and dump it all out. So anything, it could be anything, right? So you have tasks, you have ideas, you have reminders, you have commitments, so many things that happen in a day or in a week or in a month. Start by dumping it all out in one place. So if you already have multiple places where you're taking notes or keeping lists, so start by pulling them all together, um, picking an app that you like, it could be anything, and then dump it all out. So that's step one is capture. The next step is to organize it. So, a really long list of 50 different things isn't really going to help you too much. So, there's four different categories that I want you to sort them into. So, the first one is tasks. So, think of a task as something, it's a one-step thing. It's probably only going to take you a few minutes to do, maybe a little bit more. It's not something that's related to anything else. It's just a simple task, right? It could be just scheduling an appointment. That is a task. Put it on there. The next one is projects. So projects are things that are multi-step. So let's say, I'm writing my second book right now. It is a project to write the book. So there's the writing, there's the editing, there's hiring someone to help me with the publishing and things like that. So it's a multi-step process, but all of it is a project that I want to complete. It could be an outdoor project, it could be your landscaping that you want to do. It's a multi-step project, but all those projects, dump them out and organize them. And then we have routines. So the routines are things you do every day or every week. It could be working out. It could be as something as simple as your drop off and your pickup schedule for your kids. It could be the day that you decide to meal prep or go grocery shopping, the day that you dedicate towards, reading or whatever your next goal is. That is in your established routine. So you want to get that out there as well. The next one is resources. And I think we're all guilty of having like a bunch of screenshots in our phone, thinking that, I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick. And then I'm going to remember to look at this at another point one day. Then it usually doesn't happen. So think of resources as something that you want to remember or you want to refer back to. And you want to also put that in one place. So you can create a folder, let's say in your OneDrive on your laptop. And instead of just having random things everywhere, you can just make that your resources folder. And for all those when I get back to you later items, you can put that in one space on your laptop. The next item is to prioritize. So you have to decide which of these items is going to get your attention and in what order. So the things that you can use to determine how your priorities land are your are deadlines. Some things have a definite hard stop, like this paperwork is due by this day for this thing. I need to sign up for this class by this day. There's deadlines, cutoffs, that you have for work that, are due at a certain time. So that's kind of easy to rank because they have a specific date that you have to hit. The next one is your energy. So, how much of your energy is this thing going to require? So, you may want to take a few items that are very low energy for you. Like it could just be I need to schedule appointments. I need to schedule the dentist. I need to schedule the doctor. I need to schedule a hair appointment and a nail appointment. Whatever it is that you need to schedule that it's only going to take a couple minutes on the phone and you can knock it out quickly and it doesn't take a lot of energy, that could be something that you could easily prioritize because, it's not going to take a lot of time or effort. Now, there's some people who making phone calls and, making appointments is takes a lot of energy. So maybe that would fall to the bottom of your list. But in this case, think about how much effort it's actually going to take from you to do that thing. So if that thing is something that you're really thinking about that it's going to take you hours or you need a dedicated mind space to get that done, that's your energy. The next one is impact. So if I got this thing done, would it make my life better? Would it make my life easier? What would it move forward in my life? So that's the impact. Sometimes we ignore the things that are going to cause or create the most impact, positive impact in our life instead of pushing them up to the front because if we do it now, it's going to help you later. It may feel like it's going to take a lot of work up front, but if it's going to save you work in the back end, then that's something that would have a great impact. So sit down and really think about how you think about each of these tasks or projects or things that you need to do and figure out your priority based on these three things. So it's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to have to really think about it, but it's going to help you when you figure out and you start planning what you're going to be doing each day. And now the obvious last one is to act on them. So it's really easy to say, just do it, right? But that's the whole point. Sometimes things just don't get done. So how do we take all these things that we need to do and how do we manage them in our day and our week? And how do we actually get things done instead of just saying we're going to get it done? So this is where your calendar comes in. So you could have a digital calendar. Most of us have a digital calendar and maybe like a planner that we use for a daily or weekly or monthly basis. You're going to need those. So the first thing you want to do is schedule. So if you know you have certain things that you need to do, you have to figure out where in your week makes the most sense to plan those things. Maybe you have days of the week where you're running around and then you have days of the week where you're more calm and you have less things to do. So you can think about based on what it is that you have to get done, which day or which times of day make the most sense. So some of us, if we need to do very brain heavy work, we want to get that done first thing in the morning. If we want to do things that are a little bit more mindless, maybe in the afternoon or the evening when it doesn't really require that much effort, we can easily get those things done. So we want to pick the days and the times that work the best for whatever it is that we're trying to do. Figure out where that lands. The next thing is to batch them. So the example that I just gave of having 5 appointments to do, right? So you know you have to be on the phone 5 times. So batching things that are like together make the most sense. I know I am a victim of thinking that I can multitask, right? I was really good at multitasking for most of my life, and I thought I was being really efficient. But really, if you're switching from one thing to the other, you're losing momentum. And then you have to restart your brain for whatever it is that you were previously doing. And then you end up wasting more time and mental energy on the switching. So you want to batch like things together. So the example of the phone calls, sitting down to schedule all those appointments. You could also think about what it is that you need to do at home. Maybe it is, one day is your cleaning day, or this is your cleaning hour of the day. And it doesn't matter when needs to get cleaned, I'm going to clean it in that hour. It could be your study time. Maybe you're in your graduate program and I need to study. So I'm going to focus on, doing all the homework that I need to do in this time frame. So I'm not switching from I'm cooking, I'm picking up kids, I'm studying. No, we don't want to do that. We want to try to do like things together. It could be that it's your business and you have business work to do. Maybe you have accounting work to do, and you know how much brain power it takes to sometimes to run the numbers. You don't want to split your focus. You want to batch all that work into one thing. If it's just computer work where I have to sit in front of a computer, I need to be in front of a big screen, right? I want to batch all those things together. So as long as I'm sitting here, I might as well get all those things done. So you're going to find that it's a lot easier to just do like things together. It could be like topics, like themes, or just like activities. Whatever it is, pulling them together is going to make you more efficient. And then the last item is to block. So think about time blocks on your calendar. A lot of times, if we work in corporate America, we will, take out a couple hours of the day where we don't allow anyone to schedule us for meetings because we know we need to save that time to actually get our work done so that we're not working at night or on the weekend. So it's the same exact concept. So you want to batch and time block on your calendar for those like things that you're going to do. Again, thinking of your schedule and okay, what time of the day do I need to do this? Can it be done in the morning? Should it be done at night? Can it be done on the weekend? Can it be done off hours? Does it need to be done during business hours, right? So taking those three things together, thinking how you best work, what time of day and what days, batching those like items together, and then taking blocks of time on your calendar to say, this is my homework time. So every night between 5 and 6 p.m., you know, I'm going to do homework. Or every night or every morning between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. is when I'm going to do my creative work, when I'm going to, create some Instagram posts. I'm going to post on Facebook. I'm going to, create something. I'm going to write something. That's when I use my mind the best is in the morning. So those are your three things when it comes to act is schedule, batch, and block in the way that makes sense to you. Because if it doesn't work for you and the way that your brain works, it's not going to work. So try this one time and then you can adjust as necessary. So I remember I was writing in the afternoons thinking, oh, I have time in the afternoon. So that's when I'm going to block out my time to write. But then I realized it's after the gym. And after the gym, I'm tired and my brain doesn't want to work in the afternoon. So I had to move that block up to the morning because that's when my brain is fresh. So then after the gym, I could do things that don't require as much brain power, things that just require me to get things done where I'm just following instructions or following steps and I'm not needing to be creative. So think about that as you plan. So basically, this all wraps up into a system that can be called COPA. So again, this is Karla's COPA method. So it's capture, organize, prioritize, act. This is a weekly loop that you're going to do. So every single week, you want to sit down, capture everything into that one inbox. You want to sort it out. Like apps like Todoist give you options to sort them to tasks, projects, routines, resources. Usually the routines, once you get them down once, you don't really have to do them every week unless something is changing in your schedule. And resources are something that you kind of add to as needed. But for the most part, the tasks and the projects are something that consistently need to be evaluated. Then you will prioritize them using your deadlines, the energy it requires from you, and the impact it's going to have on your life. Remember, high impact things, we want to make them a priority. And then we want to act on them by putting the right work on your calendar on the right days and on the right times. So that way we'll actually have the mental, the physical energy to get them done. So we're going to do this every week. So every day, your daily engine is your schedule, batch, and block. So every single day, we should have all these things set up. So schedule your non-negotiables and your routines first. So if you're using a digital calendar or you're using your paper planner, right, the first thing I'm writing down is everything that I've already locked into for that week. So I know I go to the gym on these days at these times. I'm scheduled for these classes. I have personal training at this time. Those are locked in, right? And when my son was little, I had school drop off and I had school pickup. Those were locked in. Those were non-negotiables. If you have a doctor's appointment, right? That's a non-negotiable. You got to lock that in first. And then everything else is going to work around what you've already locked into. So understanding your non-negotiables and your routines is going to help you every week so that you can figure out what time you have left and work around it so that you actually get it done. Then we're going to, again, batch those similar tasks and themes together. So let's say, your morning is now a cleaning time. So I'm not just going to clean one place. I'm going to set a timer and then I'm going to take an hour, whatever the time is, and I'm just going to clean as much as I can for 1 hour and hit as many things as I can in 1 hour. And then once I hit that hour, I'm done. And I consider that a success. Check in the box. Whatever didn't get done will get done in the next cleaning block. And then, you set up your focus time, but you also need to add buffers. So if we set up blocks on our calendar that are constantly touching each other, like 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, and we don't leave any time in between, you're constantly going to be running from one thing to the next. You're always going to be late, and you're never going to dedicate the full amount of time to that. So you have to be realistic when you set up your time. So if you're, doing deep work in the morning from 8 to 10, and then you switch from 10 to 12 doing homework, and then from 2 to 4, you're jumping into work, other type of other things. When are you going to eat? When are you going to make time to go to the bathroom? When are you going to clear your head for a few minutes and so you can switch tasks so that you're fresh? When are you going to fill up your water bottle? If you have a dog, maybe you need to take your dog for a walk. You know, if maybe calling your best friend is a way to decompress in between tasks. Maybe it's reading a little bit of your fantasy book that you enjoy so much, and that's a great break in between things. So you want to leave minimum 15 minutes, but really 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what it is you're doing, so that you can have a full break, you can eat, and you can be ready to take on the next task. So again, while we're doing the scheduling, the batching, and the blocking, it has to be realistic or it's pointless. Again, we're creating the moat around our plan. So if we don't give any downtime, we're basically not using that at all. All right, so this is going to become a weekly cadence. So set a time and a day to do your weekly reset. So I know a lot of people like Sunday night, thinking that Sunday night leading into Monday morning has you ready for the week. But I'm going to use the wise words of Karla Murphy and say that Friday night could actually be, or Friday afternoon could actually be a much better way to do your weekly reset because that way you're heading into the weekend with everything that you need to do next week already sorted, organized, and pre-planned. So you can fully enjoy your weekend instead of thinking about all those open tabs that you have until Sunday night. So this has to be the day and the time that works for you. So maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. It doesn't matter as long as it works for you. Set a time to do your weekly reset to gather all those things that maybe have gotten all over the place and organize and prioritize. Then for the next week, what you're going to do is only pick your top 3 wins for the week. So even if half of your week goes completely haywire, you've at least got 3 good days where you can get 3 major things done. And obviously, these have to be things that can actually get done within a week or within a day. So, picking your top 3 wins for the week, it'll help you actually get things done instead of shooting for 7 or 10 things where you know you're probably not going to reach them and it makes you feel a little bit more like a failure instead of a success. So we want to strive for those top 3 things that are going to make the most impact that either have that key deadline that we're working on or we know is going to make our life better. And when we actually get them done, you can feel good, celebrate them, and know that you're making progress. And that mental piece really helps you continue using the plan instead of feeling like, ah, what's the point? I screwed up this past week, so might as well drop it. No, if we keep it simple and we keep it down to 3 wins, you're much more likely going to get it done. There'll be times when it's Friday and you're like, I didn't get any of my wins done this week, but maybe Friday afternoon you might be able to kick them all out and right there you won. So, another part of your weekly cadence would be your daily check-in. Because I know sometimes I've planned things and wrote things down, and in my mind, it's at one time. And then when I actually read it, it was another time. And because I thought it was that time and I didn't check, I missed it or I was late. So you have to spend at least 5 minutes every morning to just look through your day and make sure that the plan that you have in your mind matches what's actually written down on paper. So that way you don't miss anything. And if things get pushed from yesterday into today, then you can easily do some rearranging. And then, like I said, if you fall off track, right, we want to start with a weekly reset. Again, this could be any day. So let's say you've been off track for 2 weeks and you're like, oh man, I haven't even looked at my journal. I haven't even looked at my planner. I haven't even taken a peek at my list from to-do list. Everything is red. I screwed up completely. It doesn't matter. Go back, reschedule everything, start from scratch, and just say, this is my weekly reset, even if it's Wednesday at 2 p.m. And everything that you have been looking at that's been overwhelming you, plan it out for the next week or the next couple of days only. Let's say you only have today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday for your week. Plan out what you have left for the week. Do it in a way that makes sense, that's realistic, and then start again with your fresh weekly reset for the next week. So the point is, if you fall off track, don't feel like you're a failure. If you fall off track, you know the steps to get you back on track. So that would be your weekly reset and organizing yourself again. So these are the types of topics that we like to discuss over here in school. In my school community, Rich Gal Goals, every single month, I like to do a power chat on an interesting topic that will actually help my community. And that's a part of what I like to help people with. So there's lots of things that we do in the community. We mostly talk money and personal finance, budgeting, insurance, you name it. There's a workshop on it already there. Um, if you are interested in personal finance in a way that's funny and relatable and really quick and easy to read, you can get my book on Amazon. My blog is on yourmeanestbff.com. Again, my community is on school, Your Rich Gal Goals. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Your Meanest BFF. And like I said, every single month I host one of these power chats on a brand new topic. So I hope that you guys can join us and take advantage of the next one.